Alrighty, guys, welcome back into the Wide Eye Sports Podcast. We're so glad to have you guys back this week after an insane week 7 in the NFL. Lots of ups and downs. We have Brenner hosting. We got Riley and Spoon back here. I just want to start the podcast by saying Kirk O'Chains. Kirk O'Chains balling out on Monday Night Football. All right. So I just want to get that out of the way early. I'm repping the Chains. I'll be at the game in Green Bay on Sunday repping the Chains. Hopefully we get the dub there. But with that being said, we're just going to jump right into the MVP and biggest losers of the week. Every week we do MVP, biggest loser from each of the guys. So I'm going to start us off with my MVP. You guessed it. Once again, bringing it back to Kirk O'Chains. Falling the fuck out on Monday Night Football. Everybody says Kirk can't play in primetime. Kirk can't do this. Kirk can't do that. Let me tell you, this man was 2-10 on Monday Night Football going into tonight. In those games, his defense averages giving up 28 points per game. Okay, last night they obviously didn't. They held the Niners to 17 points. And guess what? Kirk got a dub because Kirk went out there, threw for 35 of 45, 378 yards, 2 touchdowns. Really should have been 3. Alexander Madison dropped one, and then a pick that, started the game, 50-50 ball. I liked the throw, but, Jordan Addison got it ripped away. He made up for it, though, at the end of the second half. You guys saw that touchdown? He just ripped it right out of the cornerback's hands.
Yeah, that's a pick.
I mean, that would have been. That would have been, but you got to trust your receivers. You gotta trust that they're going to make the play when you need them to, and that's what Ja did. He's special, man. I like that kid. I really like him. And Kirk going out there and just beating a top 2 defense. He beat a top 2. He played great all night, did exactly what he was supposed to do without Justin Jefferson on the field against the Niners offense was a little banged up, right? McCaffrey allegedly not healthy, but he played 100% of the offensive snaps. 100%. You don't play 100% not healthy. Now they were missing Trent Williams and they were missing Deebo Samuel. Trent Williams, in my opinion, being the bigger of the 2 losses there. They've shown they can win without Deebo on the field. I don't think that's as big of an obstacle for them. But that defense was healthy going into last night, completely healthy. And then Vikings went in, beat them. To me, that's huge.
Jordan Addison was one of my MVPs of the week. So
yeah, Jordan Addison
killed it. On my bench in fantasy too.
I should add.
Rip.
I decided to go with Ayuk instead of Addison.
Ooh, what shows you, bitch.
What a
just kidding. But I also want to give a shout out to the offensive line for the Vikings. They have been questionable my entire life, and last night they played the single greatest game I've ever witnessed the Vikings O-line play. Our left tackle, Christian Darrisaw, held Joey Bosa 1 of 40. So on 40 snaps that they went one-on-one, Joey Bosa only won one of those reps. 1 for 40. That is insane against maybe the best pass rusher in the NFL. Obviously, we have our debates here, but he's definitely a top 2 guy, if not 2. So I just think it's insane. I'll pass it off to Riley for his MVP.
Yeah, so my MVP, I'm going with Mac Jones.
Oh, God dang it, Riley.
Ooh, 272.
He sniped mine.
Out dueling Josh Allen.
He played better than Josh Allen.
Yeah, I mean, he played. I think they had more points in this one game than they had in their maybe all of them.
I don't know, but
it was something crazy like that. But he absolutely played out of his mind, and it took that for the Patriots to beat him.
Yeah, he balled out. I mean, Patriots beat the Bills, guys. Who would have thought we would have said the following on today's show? Patriots beat the Bills, and the Vikings beat the Niners.
Well, based on our power rankings from last week, all of our top 4 teams lost.
Bloop. I got. We'll get.
I know we'll dig into that later,
in just a second.
But yes, I was gonna go with Mac Jones as well. I did have another one though, or I had a couple more. I think Lamar Jackson's up there. I think he played excellent against a very good Lions defense. And then I also had Patrick Mahomes. Nobody's really been talking about the Chiefs much on this podcast. I think we obviously should a little more. And
it's the LeBron effect, right?
It really is.
We expect him to be great.
We expect him to be great, and that's exactly what he showed this week, throwing for over 400 yards.
That, and I think we're the only podcast that hasn't talked about Taylor Swift yet.
I think so. Well, I don't want to. Like that's like I was gonna go in depth about that too, and be like, hey man, like it's kind of a like
chill out.
The NFL needs to chill out when it comes to talking about that.
Well, it's simple. Follow the money, right?
Well,
like the more they show her, the more people. What?
Did you guys see Blueface at in LA
at the Rams game? Yes, I saw those.
I didn't see that. That's
with
hilarious.
the strippers.
Oh yes, I did on Twitter. I did see that. I lied. I did see that. That's gonna be his first and last suite at
the last time he gets a suite. My biggest losers of the week though is starting quarterbacks. The reason I say that is because I'm sorry, Riley, but I'm going to bring up Justin Fields. Justin Fields is hurt. He didn't get benched. But look at what happens when he doesn't play. And Justin Fields has been playing really good. But I know they played the Raiders. I get that.
Or is Bagent that guy?
Is Bagent that guy?
Bagent, baby. Had him
he's
in
just,
the back
he's just doing
pocket.
the thing. He's doing the thing Justin Fields doesn't, and he's just game managing. He's just running the offense as it should be run and not trying to make a million other things happen.
Now, another one I'm going to go over. He lost this week, but Gardner Minshew, he threw for over 300 yards against a very good Browns defense.
Yeah. Now, I would like to add to that teams playing the 49ers were 1-19 going into this last week. Now they're 2-19 and they're 2-4 this season. So it's not as, relevant this season as it was last season, where they literally had no teams win after they played them. But it shows that
there's
when
3
you play
wins this week or this year. The Cowboys did it. The Steelers did it.
Okay. I didn't know the Cowboys did it. I didn't know. So
and the Browns did it. Yeah, because the Cowboys beat the Chargers last week.
So 3-8, 3-18 then. So I think that playing the 49ers and then going and playing a team after is hard, and you don't play at your best. And I think that's what happened to the Browns this week.
Yeah, I could see that. And then the other one was going to be Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, dude, he's balling.
He played excellent after. Now, is Daniel Jones injured? I don't think. I'm pretty sure he just got benched, right?
No, he's hurt. I don't remember what's hurt.
I remember. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
It doesn't matter. He still went out there and he beat a decent Commanders team in that division. Like a division rival, absolutely.
Yeah.
He played really well.
The Commanders are so up and down.
They are. They play really good games and they play really bad games.
Daniel Jones is dealing with a minor neck injury. That's what it was. It's a minor neck injury.
But still, would you question? Would you maybe start Tyrod Taylor?
I would start Tyrod Taylor over Daniel Jones, no matter how much money you're paying him right now. Another backup quarterback is PJ Walker. PJ Walker, Deshaun Watson came out of the Browns game hurt, possible concussion, and they checked him out and said he was healthy and left PJ in the game. They said Deshaun is healthy. We're leaving Walker in the game.
Still won the game.
It won the game because right now PJ Walker is playing at a better level than Deshaun Watson. And Deshaun later then told the coaches that his shoulder didn't feel right and that he didn't know if he could push the ball all the way down the field as well as he should be able to. And that played into it. But they said on the broadcast several times that he is healthy and not in the game. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. Starting quarterbacks and the Lions are my biggest losers.
Lions. All right, so I want to talk about the Lions.
Called it. I mean, I didn't call it, but I kind of did.
Yeah, you did.
Well, I was like, man, I thought this was going to be a really good game, but I also said that the Lions are finally going up against, a really good team.
So that's my thing. Is the Lions, as of right now, no team left on their schedule has a winning record. So I think we're going to see the Lions win a lot of games. I don't think they're going to be as good as their record will indicate because this was their last real test other than the Vikings, and we still don't know what they are. Right. They don't really have many other tests the rest of the season. The rest of the season is under 500 teams. So
curious who they play.
This was the last real test of their. You going to pull up the schedule?
Oh yeah, dude. Their schedules. Okay. I mean, the Cowboys is like the only winning team they play.
Oh, they play the Cowboys. They have
Cowboys.
One winning team they face.
Yeah, they play Vegas, LA, or the Chargers, the Bears twice, the Packers, the Vikings twice, the Broncos, and the Saints.
So the Saints, the Chargers and the Cowboys. Cowboys are a test. Chargers
it's going to be in Dallas, so it'll be.
Yeah, we don't really know what the Chargers are yet either. And then the Saints, those are a week-to-week thing.
Right.
It could be amazing, it could be terrible. We don't know. So,
hey, did you hear what happened with Chris Olave?
Yeah, he got pulled over. He got the Jordan Addison treatment. He got pulled over for going 35 over. Got arrested.
Yeah. Has it come out if there was any reason why? Was he just going too fast?
They haven't said why. There's a video out of him getting cuffed and put in a cop car where he says, "My bad, officer. I play for the Saints," and the officer goes, "And." He just stopped talking and the video cuts off. But yeah, that's just people. If you had a car that went 200 miles an hour pretty easily, you'd probably pull a $135 too. Sometimes it's not, in my opinion, it's not the end of the world when guys do this. It's not okay, and you shouldn't do it. But people make mistakes. You learn your lesson. You move on. That's my thoughts on. I don't know if you guys feel any different.
Derek Carr's just pushing them over the edge, man.
Yeah. I mean, don't do this. Do not do this. I'm not making excuses. I kind of am, but I'm not meaning to. Don't do this. We do not condone these actions, but these are not, look down on this person for these actions. You should not look at them as a lesser person. They made a mistake, either a minor mistake. Some could argue that, but you just gotta, see what they do about it afterwards. You gotta see how they respond. My biggest loser this week is going to be the Raiders. The Raiders were playing really well, playing good football. Josh McDaniel finally had some momentum going in his direction after kind of just a bad start to his tenure with the Raiders, and they completely flushed all that down the drain this week by allowing the Bears to run all over them for $173, couple of 3 touchdowns, right?
2 touchdowns
on the ground.
Two touchdowns on the ground. I mean, just blowing them away. I mean, this is just you can't let this happen. 335 total yards against that Bears offense with a backup quarterback. They had Division II starters in. Division II. You're an NFL defense. Baby. Get your shit together. Okay. But that's why they're my biggest loser. Riley, did you give yours yet?
No, I'll go.
Nope.
I know. I was just making fun of you.
No. My biggest losers are the Cincinnati Bengals. And I know what you could be saying. Right. The Bengals won. How could they be your biggest loser?
They didn't play this week.
Well, everyone in the AFC North won. They are still in last place. And I wanna it's week, we're going into week 8, so let's start kind of looking at the playoff picture. You have the Chiefs coming out of the West. You have Miami and the Bills battling for to win the division. You got to think whatever other team doesn't will be in the wild card. Then you have the Ravens. They look strong, like they're going to win the North.
Real strong.
And then the Jets. So right now, the Bengals are fighting for the final 2 spots, which are currently held.
Cleveland's going to have one of those. If they don't win
the Steelers currently have the
quietly 4-2 in the AFC North.
Seriously, their offense is not good, but they're playing good enough.
I figured I'm going to bring them up later on.
Yeah, we can talk more about them.
But
so that's why
you want to hear why they're also the biggest loser? All the teams in the AFC North won besides them. And do you know who they play next week?
The Niners.
Yep.
The Niners? Yeah.
They're playing the double loss, pissed off Niners.
Yes.
Ooh,
in San Francisco.
Oh.
Yep.
But
I've said this before, Cincinnati fans. I feel for you. I really do. I love you guys. Just hug it out. Let's just hug it out. I love you guys. I'm sorry.
But they are still 2 spots back behind the Texans and Jets. And when is CJ Stroud supposed to come back?
I think it's just a 1 to 2 week thing.
Yeah, I thought he was only out for a couple weeks.
And I still really don't know what we have in the Jets. I mean, they're very up and
I know
down.
what we have in the Jets. We have a flash, well, not a flashy, but a flash in the pan offense that you don't know what you're going to get from that offense week in, week out.
Yes.
But you know what you're going to get from that defense. You're going to get tough, gritty, hard-nosed, punch you in the mouth, fuck your sister football. All right? That's what you're going to get from that defense week in, week out. They're going to show up to play football. It's just if that offense can hang in there long enough.
But I think this matchup this week against the Niners will really be a test to see if they're a playoff team or not.
I agree.
Because I could see them winning this game. I could see it being close, or I could see them getting blown out. I mean, this could go any way.
Well, let's all make sure to tune in and watch it. That's what I'm going to say.
Yes.
Make sure everybody watches that game. Once again, Cincinnati fans, I'm sorry, and we love you here at Wide Eye Sports.
We do.
Yes.
With that, let's move on to everybody's games of the week. Riley, you want to start us off?
Yeah. So, the game I was just talking about, Bengals Niners.
I figured that's where it was going to go.
For everybody watching at home, I had no clue that's where he was going.
I thought that's where he was going to go.
I always pick Riley last, so I was going to give him the first dibs.
But no, I mean, we're going to see what the Bengals are made of. If it's really time for them to start seeing this as a retooling year, not necessarily a lost year, but they need to bring in more pieces in the off season, or if they just had a rough first half of the season and they're about to get rolling going into the playoffs. And for the Niners, they've lost 2 in a row. I mean, if they are the team that we think they are, they really can't lose 3 in a row. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree completely. I mean, I would have bet my house the Niners. If you would have told me 3 weeks ago what I thought their record would be in the next 2 weeks, I would have said probably 2-0, maybe 1-1, maybe.
Yeah. No.
So,
but yeah, that's my game of the week. I'll be tuned in.
Spoon.
So my game of the week is probably Jacksonville and the Steelers.
All right.
I'm going to go there. It's in Pittsburgh. The reason why I'm picking this game is because obviously we just talked about how the Steelers they're kind of a quiet 4-2 team right now.
Yeah.
I think they play really well against like their division rivals, first of all, because they're 2-0 in their division, if I'm not mistaken. Win against the Browns and the Ravens. And then you also have the Jaguars, who are red hot right now. How many straight have they won?
Jags?
They've won 4 straight. Four straight, and they've played, the Bills in that span, a good Saints team, a good Falcons team, a decent Falcons and Saints team. They're not terrible. But I think playoff indications, like the Jaguars, they don't really need to win this game. Obviously every game you need to win, but I think the Jaguars pretty much have that division locked down. I think the Steelers, for them, though, this is kind of a must-win game, especially with the division that they're in. They need to get as many wins as possible right here, and that's why I'm going to be tuning in and watching this game.
Yeah, for sure. I agree completely. That's going to be a great game to watch. It was almost my game of the week. I was about this close, and then I was like, I think I'm going to go a little different direction here. I don't think either of the other guys are going to pick this game, and I'm kind of really interested to see what happens in the Browns-Seahawks game. We got the Browns coming to Seattle. It's going to be interesting. You got 2 gritty offenses. Neither of them are super flashy, right? And then the Seahawks defense isn't, we're not talking about the Legion of Boom here, but they're not scrubs right now. They're playing good football. And you have the Browns defense, which is top notch. Now, the Hawks Stadium, I have been there for multiple Vikings-Hawks games, multiple regular season Seahawks games. And that stadium gets loud. Like they're not underselling on TV when they say, "Oh, it's so hard to play here," because it's fucking loud. The way the stadium is set up, it has 2 like half roofs, and it amplifies all the noise back down. It is crazy. It gets so loud in there, and it is hard to play football. Now, I think it benefits teams like the Browns because they run the football and they don't do as many checks, and they're just a simpler team. So I think it's going to be a really fun game to watch. I don't know if it'll be a high-scoring game, but I think it'll be a tough battle and a good football game to watch. I don't know.
I mean, both these teams are in the top 5 when it comes to rushing defense.
Yeah.
You got the Browns sitting at 5, the Seahawks at 2. So definitely, I think this is going to be a slower pace, low scoring game for sure. And that 12th man, like you said, definitely plays a factor. They don't call it the 12th man for nothing.
Exactly. And how much do the Browns have left after 2 like emotionally stretching wins? How much does Cleveland? This game will tell me a lot about the Browns. If they come in and they dominate Seattle, they're a legit AFC contender. Like they are a team to watch out for Super Bowl. Like, end of story if they win this game to me, just because their last 2 wins have been so stretched out. They had such a tough game against the Niners and then a really tough game against the Colts that shouldn't have been as tough, but they were beat down already. They're just beat down. They're tired. Let's see if they can travel and still come out with a win. So with that, I asked the guys this week to give each a contender and a pretender for the Super Bowl this year, a team that they think has a legitimate shot of going all the way and making a Super Bowl run, and then a team who looks that way, but they don't think will actually make it, is over 500. They think they're good. You know, the mass population is like, yeah, that's probably a Super Bowl team, but probably not in the end. So, Spoon, you want to lead us off here?
I mean, I'll give you my pretenders.
Yeah, go for it.
I have 2 pretenders.
Okay.
One of them is the Eagles.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but I'm still not super high on the Eagles. We can talk more about that in a little while.
Yeah.
I do believe this is obviously a top half football team. They're doing great. They're winning games as they should, but I'm still not sold on them, man. I still believe that if the Eagles and the Dolphins played at a neutral site, or if it was in Miami, that game would have been totally different.
Yeah, that we'll get into more on that later.
And we can talk more about that. The other pretender that I have is, ironically, the Steelers. Once again,
Ooh.
that's why I was holding off on them. All
right. Give us the take.
They're a very quiet 4-2 team, like I've already said before, but I don't think this team is real. I believe when it comes to the playoffs, they're going to sneak in as a wild card team. I do have them as a wild card team right now. I think that they would sneak in before the Browns, ironically, which is kind of a hot take. I know.
Yeah, that's a steamy take. Like that's hot. Like
it just, I think this team is not very good. I think they just have better coaching.
Okay.
Mike Tomlin. I love Mike Tomlin. He's an excellent coach. I think his schemes are just what's getting them to this point. But when it comes to the playoffs and you actually go against talent, it's not going to hold up.
Yeah.
And they're going to be a first-round exit. So.
Yeah, no, teams, when they make the playoffs, it's usually because they have good coaching and good talent, not one or the other.
And I see one and not the other on this team. So.
Okay. Riley, you got a pretender for us?
Yes. So the opposite end of the Steelers, my pretender is the Jags.
Ooh.
So I know they're on the 4-game streak, but when you dive in and look at the stats, they're 9th in yards, 14th in yards per game, 10th in pass yards, 14th in rush yards per game, and 11th in rush yards. They're really not, they don't have a top 10 offense in any category. Now, on their defense, they're 26th in yards per game, 28th in yards, 31st in pass yards per game, and 32nd in pass yards. I mean,
you said pass yards twice. You mean pass rush yards?
Game. Huh?
Say that. You said pass yards twice in a row.
Yeah, I said pass yards per game and pass yards.
Oh, okay.
So 31st.
I see what you're saying. Sorry, I misheard you. My B.
So their offense isn't. I don't want to say it's not something to be afraid of, but it's not an elite offense, or at least they haven't consistently put up numbers like they are. And
I feel like they're going to hit a stride.
Well, that's why I think this Steelers-Jags game is huge.
Yeah,
because their defense is giving up so many pass yards. I think Kenny Pickett can have a good game. And their offense isn't top 10, and they're going up against a great defense. I think the Steelers' strengths and weaknesses line up very well for them to upset the Jags.
All right. I like the take.
At least this week. And they've had 16 turnovers, which has really helped them, but I don't think their defense can keep generating that the rest of the season. And so for those reasons, I could see the Jags making it past the wild card round, but definitely not to the conference or the Super Bowl.
So you're saying Pittsburgh over Jacksonville this weekend?
Yes.
All right, you heard it here first.
I also said Miami was going to blow out Philly, so
you did.
I'm not exactly,
shows what you know.
I'm not exactly
idiot.
off to a strong start.
No, just kidding. So my biggest pretender, and y'all are gonna can laugh at me, but we'll come back to this when the playoff comes around, and this team ends up going home way earlier than anybody expected. Y'all ready for this?
Let's hear it.
Yes.
The 49ers.
Ooh, okay.
These past 2 weeks have shown that they are not the juggernaut we thought they were. We all thought it. They were number one in our power rankings for like the first 5 weeks. We all thought they were juggernauts, okay? They got off to a hot start. They are not that team anymore. They're not playing like that team. I think that other offenses have seen how to beat them. And I think they're not cooked, and they're going to make, they're going to be a 13-win team. They're going to be a 12-win team. They're going to make the playoffs as the 1 to 3 seed in there. And they're going to put a good stretch together. And they're going to get there, but I think they're going home early. I think teams know that if you stop the run, like teams before were afraid of the Shanahan offense and getting caught off guard by Brock Purdy. Now they know if you stop the run, this offense can't truly fire on all cylinders, and that's your best bet. And it's shown the past 2 weeks. The Vikings held Christian McCaffrey to like 3.8 yards a carry, like 15 carries for like 45, 47 yards, something like that. And the week before, the Browns were doing a great job, and he obviously got hurt, and they weren't able to win that game. So I think come conference championship time, the 49ers won't even be around. It's my hot take.
Wow. So if you had to guess right now, who would you put in your NFC championship game? If it's not the Niners.
I'm probably going like, I would probably say, I haven't thought about it. Philly, Dallas seems like it could happen. Sometimes those interdivisional matchups happen in the championship games. You see the early 2010s, you saw Packers, Bears a couple times, that kind of thing. So I would wink at Dallas, Philly. I don't think Detroit makes it there. I don't think San Francisco makes it. I think those are the top 2 teams, the top 4 teams in the NFC right now. And I think it'll probably end up being Dallas, Philadelphia, but I could be wrong. I'm going to move over to my contender, though, and who I think is a legit threat and who is going to be knocking down the door come championship season, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
That's
the easy one.
Patrick Mahomes, enough said. When you have him, you have a chance. End of story. Bottom line, they've been, they've had a couple of games where the refs made some questionable calls, but who cares because they won. One was against the Vikings, but they won. So nobody cares how, they care how many. And the Chiefs are winning games. And their defense is playing at the best level Patrick Mahomes has ever had. They have yet to allow somebody over 21 points per game. That's pretty fucking insane. They're second in the league in scoring defense. Now, they haven't played juggernauts by any means up and down the field, but I think they will be right there in the mix for the Super Bowl come January, February. Spoon?
So I have 2. The second one's going to probably shock you just a little bit, but the first one, not really shocking. It's the Ravens. Especially after what they just did last week. I think this team is not fooling around. They are legit. They have a great offense.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson's doing everything that he can to, put up 38 points against a really good Lions defense.
Lamar, in my opinion, he's turned from a runner that can play quarterback to this season he has shown he can play quarterback and run the football.
Exactly.
Like, he has shown that he can play quarterback from the pocket this season, and I'm impressed.
I'm very impressed. You're seeing, he's changed up his game just about. He's still rushing for a lot of yards, as you're going to see with Lamar Jackson no matter what. But, he only ran for, I believe it was 36 yards on Sunday.
Yeah.
That's because he didn't need to. You didn't need to have him run. He was passing the ball enough. hitting people that were open. Like, that's all you need.
I agree.
Now, my Brenner, you're gonna love this one. Yeah, I have the Vikings on there.
Go Chains!
Yep. Do you want to? Now, this is my reasoning why. Yes, they're missing Justin Jefferson for 4 to 6 weeks. 2 of those weeks, I believe, have already passed, though, right?
Yep. This was the second week. He's going to miss the Green Bay game and the Atlanta game for sure. Possibly after that, we'll get him back.
Now, here's my reasoning. As of right now, this team's going to make it to the playoffs. They're going to sneak in as a wild card team, okay? And here's why. They play their next 6 games, Riley and Brenner, is against the Packers, the Falcons, the Saints, the Broncos, the Bears, the Raiders. Could you have put up? I mean, granted, I know it's in Green Bay. That's going to be a division game. Oh well, win or lose, it doesn't matter, because the rest of those games, they're kind of easy for the Vikings. You couldn't put together that much of an easier schedule unless you threw the Panthers in here. Oh, I'm sorry. The Vikings already played them, and they already beat them. The Vikings have such an easy schedule right now. Now, here's the reason why I have them possibly making a little run. Their games are still being decided by one score. They have not been blown out once this season. They lost to the Eagles in Philly by 6. They did lose to the Buccaneers week 1 by 3. But granted, week 1, we've all said it. It's a weird week. Weird week. They did lose to a Chargers team that I'm still high on. I still think the Chargers are a really good team. They lost to them by 4 points. They lost to the Chiefs, who is a juggernaut right now, by 7 points in Arrowhead.
In Minnesota.
Oh, it wasn't Minnesota.
In Minnesota, and it was. I don't know if you guys remember. There was a real questionable pass interference call late, where there was no pass interference. And then L'Jarius Sneed was getting talked to by the refs and took off his helmet. Referees threw a flag and then picked up the flag and told him to put his helmet back on, which would have put them from the 20-yard line, starting the drive to ice the game at the 5-yard line. So I'm not saying the Vikings would have won if they threw that helmet flag, but I'm saying the Vikings would have won, in my opinion, the way we were playing that day, if they would have called the pass interference like they should have. But I mean, sorry, I'm getting
caught
good.
Up in the But after their next 6 games, though, their 7th game's against the Bengals, and none of us are really high on the Bengals right now either.
But it's in Cincinnati.
It is in Cincinnati, but I don't really care, dude. There's a real world where I could see this Vikings team going, even if they go 5-2 in the next 7 games. That's what that puts them at 8-6.
Yeah.
I could see them sneaking, even if they go 4-3 in the next 7 games. That puts them at 7 or 8-8.
Yeah,
7-7. Sorry,
3-4. Sorry.
Yeah, it'll put them at 7-7, and I could see them still possibly.
You think 9 wins squeaks into the playoffs?
I think 9 wins could squeak them into the playoffs, especially with the way
I don't think it squeaks. I don't think the NFC is very strong.
I think that would be a squeaker. I think that'll be 10-win teams in the playoffs, but that's just me.
Think?
With the extra game, yeah. With the 17-game season, I think 10,
good point.
10 wins gets you into the playoffs as a wild card nowadays. But we'll see. I mean, who knows? It may work in the opposite. Maybe because there's more games, more people lose that extra game, and we end up getting in. Who knows? I don't.
I just figured you'd love that one.
I'm a ball. My heart rate is still above 85 from last night. I was a ball of liquid anxiety, fucking huddling a football all game. Like, how are we going to fuck this up? How are we going to fuck this up? And they missed the kick at the end of the game to go up by 8 on the Niners. And I was like, motherfucker. Like, I was so beside myself. And then Cam Bynum comes up with his 2nd straight pick. I mean, dude balled out last night. Dude had a forced fumble and 2 picks. Like, he balled out last night. He was the reason we won that game. But
anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, Riley?
So my contender from the beginning of the season, I've been high on them. The Buffalo Bills. Now,
still? You're still?
I just still lost.
I am still
to the Patriots. To the Patriots.
Hey,
I'm not saying good teams don't lose trap games, but come on.
Josh Allen's out here trying to play hero ball. All right, he'll get back in the lab. He'll get back to normal. But let's look at these numbers, all right? They're 5th in yards, 4th in passing, 12th in rushing. Now, 12th isn't elite, but it's still something you need to be concerned about. But something that's really killing this offense is they're 4th in penalties. If they could dial back on the penalties, they would have no problem moving the ball. But the defense is really interesting because they're 14th in pass and 28th in rushing. So they're allowing you to move the ball, but they're 5th in least points per game. So they're allowing you to move the ball, but they're not allowing you to score. And I think if that defense can just keep people from moving the ball, if they can expand their red zone defense to the rest of the field, I think this could be a very dangerous team going forward.
Here's my thing with the Bills. Outside of their division, they beat the Raiders, they beat the Commanders, and they beat the Giants outside of their division. Those are their only 3 wins outside of the division. They're not playing great teams. And division games are weird, so that's why I'm not including those. They did beat Miami, but Miami's also a division team. I don't care how good you are. When you play a division opponent, it's a different game, in my opinion. You guys can argue that. I believe that division games are weird. They're not the status quo. Weird things happen all the time.
Could you not say the same thing about the Chiefs, though?
You could. Well, you could.
I feel, and this might be a little bit of a hot take, but I think this is, if you take the top 5 seasons or the top 5 teams from this season, I think they are the weakest top 5 we've had in a while.
I could see that.
Do you guys get what I'm saying?
Because you see a lot of weaknesses in all these top teams.
There's no, like, every year you say, all right, the Chiefs, I mean, their offense is firing on all cylinders. Every year it's the Niners defense is firing on all cylinders. Is that what you're saying? Like, every year we have these teams that are like, oh, this team is you're done for if you play this team.
Yes.
And right now, currently, I don't see a team like that.
I don't either.
Across the AFC or the NFC, all of these teams are beatable one way or another.
Yeah, I love it. Good football. I love it.
I'm gonna call Riley out real quick. So his pretender was the Jags and his contender is the Bills. You know what happened 3 weeks ago, though, right? You know the Jags beat the Bills.
Yes, yeah. I don't think they do if that game's played in America.
I think that's an asterisk, though. I said back when the schedule was released, when me and Spoon.
Yeah, when we went through
the schedule, I set a reminder in my phone 2 months ahead of time to bet on the Jags because they were playing back-to-back games in London.
Yes.
And their bodies were going to be fully adjusted. The Bills weren't. I didn't care. Jags are going to win that game, and they did. I think that was written in stone.
And it wasn't like it was a big win. They lost by 5 points.
Now I'm gonna
the
say
defense played god awful in that game.
When it comes to the Bills, they need to figure out what the problem is, and they need to figure it out now.
Yes.
Because the next 3 weeks they play the Bucs, the Bengals, the Broncos. They could easily win all 3 of those games. I'm talking about the end of the season, though. Do you want to hear their non-conference games?
I just looked at it. Holy shit!
Do you want to hear their Do you want to hear their non-conference games? And this is in a row, dude. They play all these teams in a row. They play at Philly, at Kansas City, then they play the Cowboys, then they play the Chargers in LA.
And then they play New England at home, and then at Miami to finish the season.
Yes, I didn't go over any division games just because those are weird. I'm talking non-division games. They probably have. That's probably 4 of the toughest division games in a row that they're gonna play, and that's why I'm saying if they're real, if they're legit, they need to figure it out quick. They need to figure it out in the next 3 weeks because you do not want to come in and lose even to the Bengals. You don't want to lose to the Bengals, only win 2 of those 3 games, and then you have this schedule to look forward to. It's going to be tough for them.
No, I agree. I think it's time to take a look at the top 10 for this week, boys. I think if you both are okay with that, I'm going to go ahead and add in the top 10. And for those of you listening on Spotify at home or listening on YouTube, we have the Bills coming in at number 10, dropping 6 spots this week.
Yep.
As well as the Lions dropping 6 spots at 9. Then you have the Cowboys dropping 1 spot, not because they won, but everybody else just kind of jumped up over them or didn't fall lower than them.
They didn't play this week, and they actually fell to 8 on mine too, just because I'm seeing other teams, and it's like I can't put the
yeah. It wasn't because the Cowboys did anything wrong. It was because other teams did things better.
Yeah.
And then you have the Dolphins at 7, the Jaguars staying at 6. I kind of skipped over the Dolphins there. That's a bigger deal than I made it sound. The Dolphins dropped 6 spots from 1. I just kind of glossed over that. A fall from grace right there.
I don't have them falling that far on my top 10, just so you know.
Yeah, we had some. Yeah, Miami falls from grace big this week. They could have a bounce back week and jump back up into the top 5, but as for now, they're 7. Like I said before, Jaguars stay at 6. The Eagles jump up to 5 all the way from 9, a 4-spot jump from last week. Then we have the Niners dropping 2 spots down to 4. We have the Cleveland Browns jumping 7 spots from number 10 last week to number 3 this week. That is huge.
That's really big.
Yeah. And then we have an almost as big jump. It's 2nd. We have the Ravens jumping from 8 to 2nd with 6-spot jump. And then the Kansas City Chiefs at 1. They're rolling. They're playing good football. The defense is playing great. They have Patrick Mahomes. They have Travis Kelce. I mean, they jumped from 5 to 1, 4-spot jump. I mean, personally, I don't see a whole lot wrong here. I mean, the Cowboys could be higher. Dolphins could be higher. I think the Jags are a little too high potentially. But, I mean, the Bills being that low is kind of crazy. But there's just a lot of, like you guys said, there's not that one team. Like all these teams could be moved into the top 3, and all these teams could be moved into the bottom 4. Yeah, it's such a weird thing. Like Kansas City maybe is the only team you couldn't move out of the top 5.
In any one of these teams could beat another.
Yeah, absolutely. I could absolutely see the Dolphins beating the Bills, beating the Chiefs, the Lions beating the Eagles beating the Niners. It's such a weird season.
It is.
So I want to say real quick, you know how you said the Bills were pretty low for you at 10?
Yeah.
They were not in my top 10.
I know.
At all?
That's part of the at all. Nor him nor Dalton. Dalton, once again, having computer issues, is not joining us this week. He is still included in the top 10, though. He didn't have the Bills on his list either. That's part of the reason
my reason for that is, what did I say last week? Do you remember what I said about the Bills last week?
I'm a goldfish.
I literally said, hey, this Giants game that they played, I was like, did the Bills just look at this as did they take it as a look-ahead game, like they didn't care, oh, it's the Giants, or did the Bills, they actually played that bad? And then, once again, 2 weeks in a row playing bad football, for me, I'm just like, it gets 2 really bad teams.
Yeah.
That's why I had to pull them out of my top 10.
That Giants game is the worst offensive game they've had this season, in my opinion.
Yep, and then once again, they come in and they lose to the Patriots, who are 2-5.
Not
one
a good
of those
look.
wins. It's not a really good look, so I had to pull them out. I actually had the Steelers. I'm surprised nobody else had them in their top 10.
One other person did.
I had them. I had them at number 10 though. Like they just squeezed in.
They could have been an on the border team, but I didn't put them in there. They could have been potentially, but it wasn't like super close, so I just left them off.
Right. No, that's fine. I also did have I did not have the Dolphins at 7. I still had them at 2.
Yeah, no, you had Dolphins high. I feel like the Dolphins fell really hard. Actually, you know what? That's a perfect segue into our next segment. Let's go ahead and move on. Yeah, let's you want Spoon? You want to go ahead and share that screen again? I'll put it up on the stage for everybody to see.
Yeah, let's. Okay, I'm already at the first one, so.
Well, you got to share it again and stop sharing.
I gotta.
Cool. He's getting it pulled up real quick. And while he gets that pulled up, I just once again want to say thank you to everybody for listening, watching, however you're, taking in our content. We appreciate it. We appreciate you. And we hope we're being entertaining enough for you to want to come back next week. And with that, I'm going to jump over and add Spoon's screen onto the stage here. He's got some Miami Philly tape for us to go over real quick. Spoon, what do you got here?
All right, so first one, it is 10-17 right now. The Dolphins are down 7, and this is for the people that are listening at home. 4:13 left in the third quarter. It is 4th and 3. So let's go ahead and just play the clip for you guys real quick.
Tua drops back, throws the pass up down the left sideline, and there is a lot of contact down there on the left-hand side at the 4-yard line.
So the reason I wanted to bring this up is because, I mean, I can try to pause it where it happens.
That's going to be tough.
It's going to be really tough, but you can easily see.
If you watch very closely, for those of you at home, go ahead and play the clip, Kuhn.
There it is right there. You can kind of see it. It's kind of brushed.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah, he's pulling. The Eagles defender
mask
is pulling the Dolphins receiver's face mask as he's breaking back towards the ball. Very blatantly.
Wilson.
There is a referee 5 yards. So this is happening at the 6-yard line. There is a referee standing at the end zone and at the 18-yard line, both looking at the play, and then no flag is thrown.
No flag thrown. So I think that is an obvious miss. So also, just to give you guys a little tip about why I'm bringing this up, the Dolphins had 10 penalties to the Eagles 0.
Dolphins had
0.
13 penalties to
they had
the Eagles
13?
0. 13 to 0.
Either way, it doesn't matter. There's not a single team in the NFL on Sunday that committed less than 3 penalties except for the Eagles. So you're telling me they played a full 60-minute game and did not commit a single penalty?
Well, we know that's not true.
I'm a perfect game. There is no way. I'm going to tell you that right now. I do not believe that.
Well, we're looking at the evidence that it wasn't a perfect game.
Exactly. So there's the first one. All right. So that puts them at 1st and goal. Now, granted, they ended up scoring a touchdown right after this to make it 17-17. But let me jump to 7:54 quick. So this play. So whenever let's just play it.
Hold on. For the audience watching at home, there's now 4 minutes and 2 seconds in the third quarter. Ball on the Philadelphia 25. Shotgun. 2 receivers split out right. Go ahead and play it, Goon.
Okay.
Fake handoff. Hurts drops back, gets pressured, rolls out of the pocket, gets tripped up, but keeps his feet and then slides after the first down. So
he runs for about 13 yards there.
Yep.
So whenever I see a play like this, the first instinct is like, oh, that's a good run.
Yeah.
And I always say that. But then I always look back and I'm like, how did he get that open? Where he could just run right up the middle for 12 yards. So if you watch at the bottom of your screen here, I wish I could highlight it.
Play a little bit.
Okay. Okay, look at the defender, or look at the lineman at the very bottom, and look at the defensive lineman at the bottom, 92. So right there.
He's starting the hold right there.
He's starting the hold.
Go ahead and highlight it with your mouse. Just wave your mouse over it, Spoon.
Oh, okay. There you go. You can see it right there. Yep. He's starting the hold.
You have the left tackle from the Eagles grabbing the jersey very blatantly of the right defensive end of the Dolphins.
It's right. I don't know how it was missed, and he's still holding him.
And he's still holding on, like arm pulled back until he falls down.
Yep.
And almost takes the left tackle with him.
Now, the reason why I'm showing you guys this play is because what did the Eagles do on this drive?
They scored.
They scored a touchdown?
They scored a touchdown.
I mean, it would have made it. It would have made it.
It would have made it a lot harder because the Dolphins. There was so many times the whole game where it was 3rd and 12, 3rd and 18, 3rd and 19, and that's because of penalties. I'm going to tell you right now. I know that it's different. I can't predict what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But a 1st and 20 from the 15-yard line versus a 1st and 10 almost at midfield. Your play calling is a little bit more strict.
It's different.
It's a lot different.
It's more conservative.
Now the last one. This one, I know a lot of people already know where I'm going with this one. It's the interception at the end of the game not really at the end, but with 11:32 left.
Yeah, 11:32 left in the fourth quarter. 3rd and 8, I believe. Tua drops back. Go ahead and play it. He throws it up to the right corner of the 2. And there's some contact behind Darius Slay or right before Darius Slay gets to the ball. And it, in my opinion, definitely could have been called for pass interference and should have been called for pass interference.
I'm going to be honest. When I first saw this, I said, oh, that's not pass interference. I'm completely honest. Not
Go ahead
not
and play
at all. Did I say I think so? But I'm gonna pause it.
And then
So
pause it right there.
Right
here. The ball is in the air.
The ball is right here. If you look at this guy standing up right there, the ball is right there.
The ball is 7 yards in the air away from Raheem Mostert, and there is a Eagles defender with an arm draped across Raheem Mostert, keeping him from coming back towards the ball, and Darius Slay is making a play towards the ball as another defender.
So I hit
and
play.
Ends up getting the pick.
So look at this angle right here. So you see Mostert is almost there.
Yeah, he almost
the ball. He almost makes it back to the ball with him being held already, with the defender literally pushing him forward. He almost makes it back. And man, it's tough. It's so tough to watch this as a Dolphin, like not a Dolphins fan, but for the Dolphins fans, because I know that they watch this from home, and all they could do is just scream at the TV every time they see something like this happen.
Yeah. So we've all been there as fans. You watch your team get hosed by refs in one game, and you're just beside yourself in anger, and it's just so frustrating to watch. But I wanted to bring that to my top 10, and that is why I still have the Dolphins over the Eagles in my top 10. See, that's why I moved the Philly up, because they don't ask how, they ask how many, and that's just how the NFL works.
Listen, man, I'm one of the last people that wants to say, oh, the refs decided this game. I don't think the refs decided it. I think it would have been much closer if they could at least thrown a few penalties on the Eagles. It would have been a much closer game. Yeah. Brenner would have been right about the Eagles controlling the clock for most of the game, it being really close coming down to the end.
Yeah, but I think the Eagles did a good job of that. They did a good job of controlling the clock, period.
Right. But I still think that even
I agree. It was the referees.
I think it would have been a lot closer. It wouldn't have been a 14-point game if they called it a little more fairly, I think.
I agree.
I think the Eagles still win by a touchdown or 3 points, though.
I don't even know if the Eagles win. I think the referees turned this into turned it from a game of the year candidate into an easy Eagles win. Yep. Just my opinion. But with that, thank you, Spoon. We wanted to go over that. Are we doing the guess a player this week? Are we doing that?
I actually have that. Let me
let
me share my screen again, man.
Yeah. Tell me when you're ready.
All right. So I have last week's. I've been doing it all on one. I have the panic button. By the way, the panic button is over.
We're done with panic button.
I do have something that is going to be new next week. So stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned for that. New Spoon segment coming in next week. And with that, we're going to open up the stage here to Spoon's screen.
All right.
So are we doing a versus thing where me and Riley go against each other, or are we just trying to both guess between the two of us?
Honestly, just both of y'all guess. Just see who these players are.
All right, Riley. Let's discuss here a little bit. We got 370 rushing yards, 363 rushing yards, and 366 rushing yards.
They're all separated by 7 rushing yards.
I want to say that the middle one is a Dolphins running back.
Riley, what do you think?
Is the far right one, is it Josh Jacobs?
No,
he was on last.
It up. That was last.
Jacobs
was
on there last week. What do you think? Do you think does Achane have 7 touchdowns? I'm gonna say the middle one's Devon Achane.
Nope.
Damn it. Man, this is tough. Yeah. And I'm not looking it up here. I won't touch the mouse, so we can't look it up. That was my bad. We're not going to look it up.
Have they all played every game? None of them are hurt or anything?
Yes. I don't believe any of them have been hurt. I am going to say that there's only, I think the one on the the one on the left, he is the 15th highest rushing. He's 15th in rushing yards, and then the one on the far right is 16, and then the one in the middle is just I want to say 18, but I think there's another guy up there.
Okay. So I'm gonna go.
They're all big name guys though.
All big name guys. Is big name guys. The one in the middle Breece Hall?
No.
Damn. Are any of them Breece Hall?
None of them are Breece Hall.
Damn it. Are James Cook in the middle?
Nope.
Are any of them Dalvin Cook?
No. Dalvin's got like 78 yards. Fuck, you got me stumped this week. Yeah, last week I just rattled them off. I was fucking
except for Sam Howell.
Yeah.
Are any of them Saquon?
No. One of them is a Cowboy, though.
Ooh, the middle one is oh fuck, I just lost his name. Cardinals running back, James Conner. No,
nope. He's around that area though. You were close. He is.
One of them's Tony Pollard.
One of them's Tony Pollard.
Kyron Williams.
You can have that one. Nope. Kyron Williams is higher than all three of these guys. You want to reveal it?
Ooh. Is the middle Austin Eckler?
No.
All right, go ahead and reveal it. I give up.
Austin's been
Spoon
hurt.
wins this week. Mark one down for Spoon. Lamar. Oh, he got us with the quarterback.
Oh, I got you with the quarterback. So the reason I'm pulling this up is because who would have thought that Lamar Jackson is up here with the same amount of rushing yards as Tony Pollard and Joe Mixon? Almost identical. He's literally 7 yards behind Tony Pollard and 3 yards behind Joe Mixon.
And more touchdowns than both of them put together.
And more touchdowns than both of them put together. Who would have thought?
I'm salty that you went dirty dog on me. I'm salty. I'm salty I didn't get that.
Man.
It's okay.
I'm sorry, man.
It's okay. Good job. That was a good one.
It just look. I don't know. Just looking, it kind of shocks me. Like it shows just how good Lamar Jackson is playing this year. In my eyes, so. And how poorly Joe Mixon and Tony Pollard are both playing, because I personally thought that they'd both be top 10 running backs this year. Because Joe Mixon's usually up there, but he's not.
Yeah.
And I thought Tony Pollard was going to be a fantasy stud this year, but he is showing that he is not. He cannot be a bell cow running back. Yeah. He's not a 3-down running back whatsoever.
Nope, they're missing that red zone presence from Zeke last year.
We are. So
I don't know. Anyway, my dog going off in the background. Jesus.
I'll have another one for you guys next week. Okay.
Alrighty. All right. With that, we're gonna move on to rapid fire questions. I've got a whole whopper of them this week. So
I did not bring any questions this week.
All good. So with that, I'm just going to quick. Every week we do rapid fire questions, quick, easy answers, right to the point, just boom, 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 boom. So first off, from each of you, Riley, you go first. Who is your Super Bowl favorite this week?
Man, like AFC and NFC, or
nope. Just your Super Bowl winner. Just your Super Bowl winner right now. You had to pick a team.
I'm gonna go Niners.
Niners, Spoon.
Niners.
Ooh, I'm gonna go Chiefs.
Chiefs. All right.
Yep, back to back.
Spoon, this one's for you. Who's your number one rookie so far this year, offense or defense?
Ooh, I mean, I think it's got to be C.J. Stroud.
C.J. Stroud. I didn't know if you might.
Puka. I want to lean towards Puka because he had such a good game last week too. Another 100-yard receiving game, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, Riley, who's better, Trevor Lawrence or Lamar Jackson right now?
Lamar Jackson.
Okay. All right, I want to know from each of you. This one's from each of you. Which is a better touchdown celebration? The gritty or the waddle? Riley?
I want to say the waddle, just because it goes with Jalen Waddle, and now the entire NFL is hitting the gritty.
Okay.
Yeah. The gritty's too popular now. There's
you guys are going hipster with it. You'll be like, that's too popular, so we're gonna go
too mainstream, man.
It's too mainstream.
Too many hipsters on the show. A bunch of hipsters. Obviously, we're going gritty all day. We gritty on everybody all the time. Riley, will any division, have 3 teams make the playoffs this year?
Yes, the AFC North.
Okay, so Spoon, the Bengals have the number 1 strength of schedule left. Do they make the playoffs? Yes or no?
No.
All right. Riley, should the NFL bring back pink breast cancer awareness cleats, gloves, all that jazz? And should players be allowed to just do whatever they want with that? Pink whatever, pink mouth guard, pink gloves, pink whatever.
Without a doubt. What is with the NFL? Tyreek Hill has been fined $11,000 for not wearing socks. Like, what?
Hey, man.
Let him wear
player safety. Player safety. He could get turf toe. He could get turf toe. No, I'm just kidding. I think they should be allowed. I think they should bring it all back.
I miss the pink month.
I miss the pink.
I miss it.
Bring it back. Bring it back. All right, we're gonna start a movement. All right, Spoon. Should Atlanta make a move and trade for a true QB1?
Honestly, no.
No, you like Ritter. You think they should just stick with it?
Personally, I do like Ritter. I think he's doing just enough and doing what he needs to do to get wins, and that's all you can really ask for. I mean, I think if you trade for a quarterback now, you basically call him the season because, I mean, we're almost to the halfway point, and when you get to the halfway point, you're wanting a new quarterback to come in and get chemistry with the guys that they currently have. I think it's an off-season move, not a mid-season move, if they do it.
Cool. I'm going to come right back at you. Is Detroit a fraud or is Detroit legit?
With me?
Yep.
I still think they're legit. I think they just they weren't ready for this Ravens team at all.
All right.
That's where I'm coming at. I think.
All right. Which is a bigger shock? Patriots beating Buffalo or Minnesota beating the 49ers?
I'm going to say Patriots beating Buffalo only because I've always, as much as it pains me to say, coming into the season, I thought the Vikings were going to walk away with the North. I mean,
so did I.
They've just had turnover troubles the first half of the season. Like, I think the Vikings are a good team as much as it pains me to say.
All right, Spoon. Bigger surprise, Pittsburgh beating LA or Chicago beating Las Vegas?
I think it's Pittsburgh beating LA.
Okay. All right.
That's right.
That's right. Riley goes, that's right. That's right. Not a surprise. Right. Why would you be surprised that the Bears won a game?
Why was that even a question? Why was that?
I'm still not high on the. I'm not high on the Raiders whatsoever, especially with Garoppolo out. They're bringing in a backup quarterback, but I was high on the Rams. I thought this would be an easy win for the Rams.
Okay. All right.
But,
well,
yeah, obviously I was wrong.
With that being said, biggest MVP favorite out of these three players. All right, each of you gets to answer this. Lamar, Tua, or Jalen Hurts. Riley?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Josh Allen.
Not a chance.
No, no chance.
You have to beat the Patriots to be an MVP candidate.
He is throwing for 70%. He is fifth in yards.
I didn't ask about Josh Allen.
Tied for second in touchdowns. He is still in this race, but out of all of them, I would say Tua, only because my favorite was not a choice.
I would still say Tua.
I might throw. Honestly, I said Hurts in there because the Eagles are winning games, but I would throw Lamar in there. Lamar's balling.
It was close, but it was between Tua and Lamar. I wasn't gonna say Hurts at all.
I wasn't gonna say Hurts either. Tua's balling, but I like Lamar. But with that, what
is Jalen Hurts an MVP favorite?
I don't know if he's a favorite.
I don't think he's a favorite. I think he's on the winning team.
I was gonna say, I think he's leading quarterbacks. He's got to be top 5 in turnovers.
I think he's number 1 in interceptions right now.
In interceptions, and I think he's had a couple fumbles this season. He
is
not playing well.
All right. Well, does anybody have any closing statements? Anything they want to get off their chest for the week? Any predictions they want to get out there? Anything they want to say? Anybody?
So I do have something to throw at both of you, right?
Okay.
Was it Brenner who had the Chiefs win in the Super Bowl? Was it both?
No, I had the bank. We both had the Bengals winning
the
Super Bowl with Joey B going for an MVP.
So
might have been Dalton.
There is all this. If the Niners and the Chiefs made it to the Super Bowl, what position other than quarterback does the 49ers not have a better player than the Chiefs?
Center. Creed Humphrey's the best center in the NFL.
O-line is all one. Do you think, is it Toronto or Trent Williams? Is Trent Williams better than Creed?
Well, Trent Williams is a top 3 left tackle, and left tackle is the second most important position in all of football. So,
yeah, exactly.
Well, you just said position. You didn't say position group.
Well, position group. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right.
Is Nick Bosa better than Chris Jones?
Yeah, I would probably say yes.
That's hard. For
it's
me,
close.
Dude.
It's very very.
Name
close,
a Super Bowl team that didn't have a stud D tackle. Exactly.
Here we are.
Super Bowl winning teams have stud D tackles. Now, some have stud D ends. I mean, the Broncos are the first team that come to my mind. You had Von Miller on the edge against Cam in the Super Bowl, so they didn't have a stud D tackle. But other than that, it's like that team, and then the Giants in 2011 had like Linval Joseph. It was a second guy. I mean, you have Aaron Donald, Chris Jones, just in the past couple of years that are just stud interior guys that stuff up the middle and make it a one-dimensional game for the other team. But they can also get after the quarterback from that place too. That's huge.
Now, let's look at linebackers. Is anyone on the Chiefs better than Fred?
No. Next.
Fred Warner.
Next.
Now in the secondary,
L'Jarius Sneed's playing great, but I would take Ward and Hufanga over Sneed in a heartbeat.
I'd take Kelsey over Kittle.
I wouldn't.
I would take Kelsey over.
Yeah, I knew Brenner would.
I knew Brenner wouldn't take Kittle.
Kittle can do everything Kelsey can do, plus he's a better blocker.
I think the only position that they are far and away better than the Niners is a quarterback.
I mean, God, you say position group. I mean, centers deserve respect. They deserve respect, and the center position is hard, okay? They have to know everything the quarterback does, and they have to block a 300-pound lineman. Yeah, sometimes they have help from a guard, but sometimes they're left one-on-one with a 350-pound nose tackle, and they got to block for a guy who needs 4 seconds, okay? The center position, in my opinion, is the hardest position on the football field. You can't change my mind on that. I'm done venting.
But my whole point, I was thinking about this last night, and I really couldn't find a position group where...
You know what the biggest difference is between those two teams? One of the coaches didn't blow a 28-3 Super Bowl lead. One did.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Coaching matters a lot. You can have the greatest roster in the world if you don't know how to call plays, or if you don't know what you're doing, or you make bad play calls. It doesn't matter how good the players are if they're not doing the good things on the field.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my X factor. That makes the Chiefs a better team, because I think Andy Reid is far and away a better coach than Kyle Shanahan. I think Kyle Shanahan's a great coach, and he's great offensively, and he's kept good defenses in San Francisco. But when it comes down to it, every time Kyle Shanahan has made a championship level game, he is the reason the team has come up short every time. So, but with that being said, I think we're going to close it out for this week. I appreciate everybody sticking it out with us. If you're watching the Green Bay, Minnesota game, look for me in the crowd. I'll be wearing the chains this week at Lambeau Field. No pack, no. No pack, no. Thank y'all, and we'll see you again next week.